Namaste. I'd like to welcome all of you to this brief sharing on the Shantarasa Yoga Darshana Yoga Teacher Training courses that we're going to discuss briefly now. Both the 200-hour and the 300-hour training, which are being offered in 2025-26, and together comprising the 500-hour. My name's Keval, and I will be, along with my wife, Sadhana, will be sharing these programs with you. And it's a pleasure to be able to give you some information right now. Both Sadhana and myself have been practicing yoga for the better part of half a century. I started when I was 21, I think when she was 20. I'm now 75, and she's approaching her 70th year. But I can tell you the enthusiasm and the passion and the enjoyment of this practice hasn't diminished in that time. If anything, it's probably been incremented, it's increased. So we are very happy to share this with you, and we feel that it's important for us to do so. It's been our life purpose, our dharma, to be able to share the wonderful experience that yoga enables people to have, and which we received from some wonderful teachers ourselves. So we feel that it's our duty to be able to impart what we received with others. 200-hour. As you know, 200-hour trainings today are ubiquitous. We find them everywhere. And modern postural yoga is usually the format that these 200 hours are comprised around. They're predominantly asana training. And whilst what we also teach is in large part asana, I would say it's just a part of a whole integral process to give you a deep experience of what yoga really is, to introduce you to the deeper dimensions, the deeper domains of what yoga is. And I'd like to briefly give you a definition of what yoga has become for me. It is the pursuit and hopefully the attainment of lasting fulfillment and ultimate freedom. So this 200-hour program is to help facilitate that entry into those goals of life, very real goals of life. So let's begin with the 200-hour. There's a very strong asana component. The word asana, as you probably know, means seat. And in the training that we offer, you'll be instructed in the 84 classical asana postures or asanas. But the purpose of doing so is not only to be able to help you develop a competent and skillful means by which to impart this to others, but to give you a deeper personal experience of the life and the breath of yoga right within yourself. Asana facilitates that. And so the asana practice that sadhana primarily communicates to you is very rich indeed. One of the facets of that experience is cultivating what we call ecstatic conductivity. And this is a state that we cultivate for ourselves, a level of stability and equanimity and joyfulness that arises out of well-instructed asana practice. So obviously the body is toned, the body is healed through this practice. But more than that, the first stage of asana, which is the predominant body of work that is done in the 200-hour, is to help free you of obstructions physiologically and also subtly. So those blockages begin to dissolve and move away. And so you find yourself freer and more enlivened in a profound way. This is a personal experience that you'll garner from this training. One of the things that you will get from this training is the experience of how to actually release tension and to clear obstruction. This is the first phase that asana is supposed to impart to us. The second phase is the cultivation of vital force. And while that process begins in this training, it's given much more import in the second training that we're going to look at, the 300-hour. Briefly, let me give you some information about what I call yoga wisdom, which are the tenets or principles of yoga that make yoga alive and powerful. A wonderful teacher once said that yoga is an impossibility without the precepts, without the moral training that is fundamental in all yoga experience. And I would say also, yoga is an impossibility without the cultivation of the deeper dimensions of practice. So having a relationship, meeting and beginning to unpack the philosophy of yoga. The word philosophy means love of wisdom. So those principles that transform us and enable us to live a joyous, stable life, regardless of what's happening externally, where we cultivate an inner resilience and power and strength, are one of the principal aims of yoga practice. And the study of these yoga tenets or principles facilitate that happening. I won't go into all the content right now. You can actually explore that online. If you look at the information packets and descriptions of the course that you'll find in the website, you'll be able to see the range of topics that are instructed and that you'll be interfacing with. But they're very rich and designed to seat you in yourself. Let's move on to the 300-hour training. 300-hour training is designed to give you a different experience of yoga asana and also the deeper domains of the yoga state. Let's look at asana first. Very briefly, this is where the second stage of asana is communicated to you, which is the cultivation of vital force. So the body has been purified. Now it needs to be energized. And the process of energization of the body is fundamental because as we proceed in our experience of yoga, yoga needs to become more and more subtle, more refined. For that to happen, that takes a lot of power. That takes a lot of strength. And this training facilitates that development of inner power. There are three important things that are taught in this training that are relevant to our discussion now. They're called the three essences. And the three essences, which I'll briefly mention, are ojas, prana, and tejas, are the subtle streams of yogic power that we begin to develop and experience internally. And the way the asana is taught in this phase of practice facilitates that. The other thing I would mention about the asana practice in the 300-hour is that it has a different focus. Rather than being directed towards teaching a general class with lots of people, or few people, as the case may be, this is a one-on-one training where you're given the capacities to work in a one-on-one way with a client. And this is much more personal and it's a much deeper way of working where your quality of insight, intuition, and capacity has to be heightened and developed. This training is designed to do that. And it leads into beginning to work as yoga as therapy, yoga Chikitsa, which is another training that we offer. You get the fundamentals of yoga Chikitsa in this 300-hour training. So you begin to be able to work with a person in a much more profound and impactful way where you're able to meet the obstacles that they experience and using the model of yoga wisdom and asana begin to enable a person to release those blockages that they've carried perhaps for a long time. The swadhyaya, or the study, the self-study of this aspect of the training is beautiful. It's the part that I love the most. And here you will find tools that will enable you to really transform your ongoing experience. One of the things that we talk about is state change, attending to your state. And this means having the wherewithal to ground yourself in an internal experience that is stable and ongoing, regardless of what's happening on the outside. This is the inner dimension of yoga. That's really the heart of the work of yoga, to be able to do this well and to do this in a lasting way. So what we look at here in terms of the study component helps to facilitate that. It helps to cultivate a pure and pristine mind that is lucid, and also a magnanimous, open heart where there's a deep quality of feeling. Yoga training is designed to help you not only experience the personal resources that you have, the undeveloped skills that you have, but also help move you from the realm of personal resources into the transpersonal, where we begin to have a different relationship with the world around us and with one another. We begin to feel a level of profound connection being opened within us. And that's a truly transformative experience. So the swadhyaya, or the self-study component, facilitates this beautiful opening to occur. That completes the 500-hour training. You can do just the 200-hour training. To do the 300-hour training, you need to have a certification already for 200-hour training, whether you've done that with Shantarasa or not. And together, that comprises the 500-hour training. One other program that I'm going to mention very briefly is the Yoga Chikitsa, which is an additional program that's being offered in 2026. These are the foundations of yoga as healing, yoga as therapy. And this is an important range of yoga experience where we can work in a profound and powerful way with another person. It entails not only working with asana, but using requisite counseling skills where all of the different facets of the experience that we have, from the physical to the mental and psychological and emotional, and the causal or the more subtle domains of our experience, are all nourished and integrated in a very profound way. And of course, the most sublime level of experience, which is available to us and which is indeed inherently part of our nature, is what we call the transcendent experience. The experience of our higher or pure self is the word that's used, atma, in yoga. So these are all the various levels that Yoga Chikitsa integrates very, very beautifully to give us a holistic experience. And you'll be introduced to this through this training. So I think that covers it pretty well for now. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you found something here that's relevant and perhaps meaningful for you. Sadhna and myself look forward to having contact with you. We are available to do that with you. You can contact us through email. You can also contact us directly, giving us a call, and we will always respond. We hope to meet you soon. Once again, thank you for your time.